Brenda from Richter Stitcher. I wanted to come on here real quick. It is August the 29th, so we have, what, is there 31 days in August? I think so. So we have 2 more days before September arrives. And I really want to do Sampler September this year. So because of that, I went ahead today and went through my whips as well as any charts that I've had kitted that are samplers, because I want to put those on for this coming month in my rotation, I guess. I'm doing a couple other things off to the side, like in my area that I stitch in. I have a couple charts that aren't samplers that I'm kind of working on. I recently just finished one for our anniversary, so you know, I'm putting those things away and thinking about, you know, what other small type stitching that I want to pick up, but I'll share that in my next floss tube. But for today anyway, I wanted to come on for a floss tube extra and talk about my Sampler September plans. I don't think I've ever actually done a full month of just samplers, but that is my goal for 2023, is to, like I said, pull all of my samplers that I've already started in my whips and just focus on those this month. And I just was going to share those charts with you. And then looking at what I wrote down, I kind of put down in this little book that I have for the month of September how many I came up with and how many days are in the month are 30. So I came up with a total of 12, and 5 of those will be new starts. The others are all whips that I've started. I mean, even the tiniest little start. So that's kind of my plan, and I guess we'll just get started. I guess as we're going through the month, I might pop in through the month and share my progress of, you know, the plans, but I'll try to say here kind of what they are. And then of course share with you the charts. So I guess we'll start with I'll kind of look at my calendar and how I've got it written and how we're going to work on them throughout the month. Trying to think where they're at here. I think these are it here. My first one that I want to start on the 1st of September is a new chart that came out, so it will be a new start. But I have it kitted, so that's all good. But I'd like to start the one from Annie, what is her name of her, you know who I'm talking about, that just started making samplers and reproduction samplers. Starts with a P, I can't think of it, I'll put it below. Anyway, it's the Caroline Carter 1823. So that's going to be on the schedule to start my Sampler September. And I'm using, of course, her chart. This isn't a reimagined one. This one's actually a reproduction. And I've filled out all of my cards, so I'll just let you know I'm using an 18 count fabric. It's the Vintage Country Mocha. And I've kitted it up with some Krynex, so it's not the called for. And I've got some sulky 12 weight cotton, as well as I guess there's one Trinway for the black. I've got them on a ring. I haven't actually put them on the cards yet, but I will. So I can get them out of the plastic here to share with you. It is the called for, or it's not the call for it. It's the Vintage Country Mocha that I kitted it with, that I got through 123 Stitch. So these will be the colors, and then of course the 2 sulky petites. If I can get it up here. That's kind of what I'm thinking for this piece. And it is a new start, so I've got my card. I kitted it back on August the 5th, and we are August the 29th, so it's fairly newly kitted. And I put it in this bag here that I think I got this from, it was either Hands Across the Sea, or it might have been the Wishing Thorn, now that I think about it. It was the Harriet Charlesworth bag, but it's a sampler bag, so I thought I would put it in that bag. Now all of them probably won't have their own project bags because I haven't gotten that organized yet. So that will be the first one. And I'll probably only work on these 2, maybe 3 days a piece. So I'm not sure how far I'll get, but I'll at least get it started. I have a color, is it Silken Colors? So that was one of the questions I had with this chart, what green I wanted to use. So I do have a darker green or this lighter green. So I'll decide as I'm working on the chart which one will be best as I'm stitching it. So that was number 1. The second one I want to pull out is a whip that I had started back in 2020, I think it was. But I had it already kitted up back then, and I started a very small start. Well, for me, a small start would be just 1 strand of floss, but this one got a little bit of work over the last couple years, so there's a little bit more of a start. But it's a Brenda Coming to America. I'll show you the pattern here. Sorry that it's still in the plastic, but I'll be picking that up for a few days. So that'll be my second one, and this is how far I've gotten so far. Let's turn it around here so you can see. Got some birds and part of the border going down the one side. And then I started over here a little area. So I'll just keep going for 3 days on that. I just would really like to touch all of my whips throughout this next month that are samplers. So that's why I decided to go ahead and do this with all the others that are talking about Sampler September. Excuse me for a second, I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. So the second one, like I said, is Coming to America. And I showed you my start on that, so that will be a second one for the 2 or 3 days in the month. So I am kind of excited about pulling all of these out. I kind of keep them in the same order. The next one I'd like to pull out is a new start. So I kind of am doing new start, then a whip, a new start, and a whip until all the new starts have been done, and then it'll all be the whips. The next new start is one that I kitted up, and I didn't take it out of the plastic, so hopefully it's not too loud. Get it out of there real quickly and share my flosses as well as what I'm using. This one is an R&R Winter's Brew on a 40 count, and it's the chart by the Scarlet house called Samplers. I thought that would be a good one to start since it's all kitted up. It looks like I have DMCs pulled. I've got one gentle art. Some of these are really wrinkly because they were on bobbins, and I guess I could probably iron them, but I've also got some that I'll probably be needing to purchase. It's called Pomegranate by the Gentle Arts, but as you'll see here, I still have them on their skeins. I need to get my little floss winder and put them all on the tags. But with this Winter Brew, I think this will look very nice on this chart. I can hold it all without dropping it, but I am anxious to start this one because I would like to have a sampler wall somewhere in my house, and this would be over top of it or kind of centered around all of the other samplers. So that is the plan with this one as another new start. I'll just set it here in front of me instead of taking the time to put it back in the plastic and making a bunch of noise. Since I have them in order in my book, it'll be easier to have it sit next to my chair. And see, I have it in this little box that's easily going to sit wherever I take it, if I need to take it somewhere. But I decided to put it in something like that so that they would all be in one place. The one after that I want to work on is another whip by Hello from Liz Matthews. It's the first day of Christmas, and it's got a small start on it, and I'm using the satins by DMC, or the silk, I guess they're silks. And there goes my clock. But I've got some silks in there and some metallics mixed in, but they are my colors that I picked. And I'm using a 40 count Picture This Plus fog linen, which was the called for. And I'll share with you the small start that I've got. I started this back on July of 2020, so I haven't gotten very far, and on 40 count it will be fairly small. I guess I should show you the actual chart. But you probably all know her first day of Christmas is the one with the pears. So that's going to be on here. I hope it'll come out correctly, but on 40 count I'm thinking it's only going to be so big. I hope I'm doing it the right way. I sometimes look at that and think I should have started this way, but I guess if I'm going all the way across, that's probably right. It's just how long is it? So that will be the next one that I work on for a few days. If I can even get one day on each one of these, I'll be happy, because it's been a while since I've worked on some of these. So that was another sampler that I'd like to pull. And then after that one, I want to look at another new start. And you've seen this one from the Wishing Thorn. I just recently kitted it up as well. It's the Tindale Sisters, and I am going to do both of them, but the first one I want to work on is the younger one, Elizabeth, which I think is, can't really see a good picture of it, but it's this one here. So Elizabeth Tindale will be my first one, and I'm going to be putting that one on the 28 count. That's what 28 count ivory that I picked, and it is a even weave. So I got a big enough piece of that, and then of course I kitted it with the original called for colors, the flower threads. So I've just put them on a little ring, and apparently all these flosses will work for both charts. So I'm keeping it all together in one bag, but Elizabeth will be the next one that I work on. And that brings me to the 10th of September. It's kind of my goal is to kind of stay on task and look at my calendar and say, okay, well, for this day I was supposed to do these ones, and try not to get behind, but my evenings I usually can pull out some stitching, and that's the plan. And then after, oops, better put this back in there. After that one is another whip that I started a while ago, and it's also got two patterns in it, because one is a new start and one is already started. But I will pull out both of them so you can see. The one that's going to be next after the 10th of September is His Eye is on the Sparrow by Heartstrings Samplery. And I kitted this up a long time ago through Keepsakes, and I actually had them get me both fabrics. So I've got the fabric for that one there, but for Considerable, or not Considerable Lilies, His Eye is on the Sparrow, I've already started it, but I bought the fabric and it's very large. Whee! This is one of the BAPs. It's going to be very large. But this is my small start on that. I've been working on this for a few years now, and it just has not gotten pulled out of the closet. So now that September's here, I thought for samplers I would really like to pull this out again. use, like I said, His Eyes on the Sparrow. And I'm doing that on a dirty Ada, and it is an 18 count. So these will be the flosses, and I've got them on a nice big ring. I kitted this up back in, I wrote it down here. Oh yeah, March of 2020. So it's been in the bag for a little while. I pulled it out during my whip go in 2022. Or was that 2021? I can't remember the year. I didn't do it in 2022. I did it in 2021. Because 2022, my grandbaby was born and I didn't do whip go that year. Too many things happening. So these flosses will also be used. Hopefully I can pull out enough for the second pattern by her, but that is not going to happen until after I get the Tindale. Rosanna, I think is her name. That's the next one I have on my calendar. After His Eyes on the Sparrow, I wanted to do Rosanna Tindale. So I shared this one here is Rosanna. And I am doing her on a lighter fabric. It's also a 28 count, and I'm using the same threads as Elizabeth with her, but it'll be on a white 28 count. So I am going to use two different fabrics for each of these. Elizabeth's will be on the ivory, and Rosanna will be on the white. So those will be two new starts also. So I'll have quite a few more fabric or samplers to add to my whips, but I'm excited to get them started because, like they say, you won't finish them unless you start them. So for 2023, I would like to get some of these samplers started. And so that leads me to the 17th. And I didn't say earlier on my calendar, I didn't schedule anything on a Saturday just because our weekends we try to focus on, you know, things around here and with my husband and grandbabies. So I thought having the Saturdays open would be best. So throughout the month, I am going to try to do, like I said, 2, maybe 3 days on each of these samplers. And like I said, there's only 12, so not doing any on Saturdays. Some of those, you know, I might say, well, we're not really doing anything tonight, so I'll pull it out on a Saturday, but just depending on which one I'm working on. So that I think will also help to get an extra day here or there on certain ones. So that I'm kind of looking to kind of open it up a little that way to help me, which will lead me to the 17th of September. And I wanted to pull out, where did I put it? I thought these were in order, but I guess they're not. That is not the one. Oh, nope, that's not it. Let's put this back in here. So His Eyes on Sparrow, then I do Rosanne, and then after Rosanne is, what's the name of, Sassy Jacks, I think, is the title, where I got the pattern, but it's called Stitch Sisters. Can get it out here. It was a free pattern, and it's gotten a little ways, so I might even be able to finish it in 3 days. Just depends on how I focus. I'm going to flash it because I'm not quite sure when it comes to freebies, but it's kind of going to look like that. It's got 2 little ladies, and it is considered a sampler, but I'll show you where I've gotten so far on that. It could probably be a finish, maybe. We shall see. And I've got plenty of fabric. I'm trying to remember what fabric this is, because I don't see my card here. Oh, yes, I do. This is a 14 count toast. And I'm using mostly DMCs. And probably, yeah, I subbed maybe 6 or 7 of the called for DMCs with different ones that kind of look close. But I'm liking how that looks on there. I didn't put down a start date on here, but I could probably go back on my calendar and see, because I've been putting things on my calendar when I've last stitched on them. So sorry that they're not ironed, but that will be what gets started on the 17th. Maybe I could get a finish by the 19th on that. And like I said, here are the flosses. Actually, it looks like a ring came off. I'll have to find my ring. I must have pulled it off for some reason. But these I put on little tags. Those are the colors I'm using. And like I said, they're all DMC. So I'm liking the way that's looking. So that was another sampler that's going to be pulled. After that one, I'd like to do the Consider the Lilies, and that is a new start. I've not even started paper, or the fabric is also an 18 count Aida. And I will be using the same flosses as Consider the Lilies. They're all the same. I think she did that purposely so that they would be easier to finish, but I'll probably have to replenish depending on how much I use his eyes on the Sparrow. But since I'm starting them both in the same month and doing them at the same time, I'll just use the colors that they call for until they run out, and then I'll just call and get some more. So that will be the 19th of September. And then another whip that I've started that I'll pick up on the 21st. So like I said, even if I get a couple days on each of these, I will be happy. It's a Teresa Kogut one that I started. I'm not sure if I wrote down when I started. I should, yes, July 10th of 2022 is when I started this. I kitted it back in May of 2022. But I got it from Keepsakes, Land That I Love, and the colors, let's see if I'm using, actually this was gifted to me from a friend. I didn't actually buy it, so, but I did kit it all with these colors. DMC, I've got the little tag America on there. I'm using DMC, and I converted the colors to the ones that I had that matched closely to what they required on the chart. And I'm using the called for, which is fabric. I'm looking here what the name of it's called. Oh, Tin Roof. Yes, and I've only got a very small start on this. Up here in the corner, I've started it. So that's where we're at. So that will be pulled on the 21st. Maybe I'll get a little further, but that's the goal for doing Sampler September, right? Just any little bit of stitching I can get in is a plus. So those, like I said, are all DMCs, and yeah, I'm anxious to get this one done because I really would like to have this on my wall in the next few years, if possible. Just depends on how much time I put on into it, right? I'm noticing when I do smalls, I can get a little excited because I tend to focus when they're smalls. I can get them done quicker. Samplers will take me a lot longer, but if I'm working on them, maybe not as long as I would like. So after Land That I Love, I'm going to move on to the 24th of the month and pull another whip, because I think the rest, all the new starts have been pulled. It's one that Pam from Just Keep Stitching showed and I fell in love with and had to kit it and buy it. The Cardinal Points from Long Dog Samplers. and I really want to pull that one out again, so see how much further I can get. I've been working on this one for a little while, and I kitted it with, I think the called for is what it looks like. Maybe not, because some of these I don't see on here. Oh, well, yeah, these are the called for. So I went ahead and kitted it with all the called for colors. And I have started it, but looking at these flosses, there's only like one or two that I've actually used. And you'll see when you see my progress. I started with a little black and a little green. And I started in the center. So I got a little berries there. Yeah, I didn't put down when I started this. I just put down that I seen it after Pam's finished and started it in 2022. So it got a little work on it in 2022, and hopefully in 2023 we'll get a little more. So that's the goal for that one on the 24th, a couple days. Put that all back in there so everything stays together. And I just love the way that looks. So hopefully can start seeing some progress on these. That's the goal. And then after that, I just had one more, and this one I really am anxious to get more done on because I love the look of it. And I really wanted to pull it out for our anniversary. I ran out of time and didn't get to, so maybe even tomorrow I might consider starting it and putting a little bit into it. But it's called a Handwork Space. And I just love that look. It's by Plum Street Samplers. And it's supposed to be done on 40 count vintage light exemplar. But I couldn't find that particular 40 count, so I found Weeks Dye Works straw. And I will share with you where I've gotten so far. And I'm using NPI silks. So it's not the called for. Or maybe it is the called for. I'm looking to see here. Got a Harvest Moon. I don't see that on here, which tells me I've subbed a few. But I do have like the NPI's 991. So certain ones I might have subbed. I just didn't write it down. Oh, yes, I did. So I've got some NPIs mostly, as well as, actually they're all NPIs, except for 4. Picnic Basket, Bayberry, Piney Woods, and Harvest Moon. Those don't look like they're on the actual list, so I think I subbed those out. I started this on my birthday, actually, of 2020, which was August 15th. So that's been 3 years ago, and this is how far I got on the straw. And it was one of my first 40 counts. And I fell in love with it when we were at an anniversary. We stayed at a farmhouse, and this was framed and all put on a frame in one of the rooms that we were staying in, and I seen it and had to see if I could still find it. And as you can see, I'm not real good at the way, I forget those satin stitches, I think is what they're called, but I like the way they're kind of antique looked. So on this Weeks Dye Works fabric, I usually have to put it in a hoop because I like to have it really tight. So I've gotten a little ways, and hopefully I can get a little further because it's really not that big. I forget what people say with the count, the stitch count, but it's 162 by 246. So to me, that's probably a medium size. Sorry about that, my light's flickering. So that would be my last one to work on. And being that I'm really focused on wanting to get this a little further than it was, since I have 3 days extra at the end of the month, I might just focus being that this is the last one that I'm working on. So that's what I'm thinking right now, unless throughout the month I really find one that I'm really enjoying. I'll have 3 extra days to kind of focus on those particular ones. But that's my plans for Sampler September. And I'm kind of glad to keep going on some of these. Like I said, I have not done Sampler September before, so it is new to me. But I am enjoying just the anticipation of seeing all what everybody else is working on. I have gone a little crazy with some of the charts that I've purchased and kitted up in the last year. So because I've kitted them, I'd like to start them, especially the samplers like Annie, the Proper Stitcher. I just remembered Annie's new ones that she came out with, so I'm anxious to really get started on some of those as well as some of the other patterns that I've been working on the last months. But that's what I wanted to share, and I appreciate you coming along and watching with me and helping me get this organized. So you all really do encourage me to keep going at my stitching, and having this to bring out to you and share with you has really kept me focused. So we will look forward to September 1st, and I will pop back in again soon. My Floss Tube 18 is coming in the next 2 weeks, so we will see you again. Bye-bye.